DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Command your legion, claim your legacy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another DeFi Kingdoms AMA. It is Thursday at close enough to 2 p.m. Eastern, so it is time for us to roll. Apologies on a couple minute late start there. We got a little delayed, but we are here and ready to go. We probably will have a little bit of a lighter crew today. As Fox mentioned last week, he's going to be out for the next few AMAs as he does some traveling. He'll still be working, but he will not be available at this time slot, unfortunately. Beetle did have a real-life obligation to attend to today. So as I go through the questions, there may be some that we touch on a little bit lighter, or there may be some that I leave for Beetle Dude. So if I skip your question and it's Beetle Dude specific, that's why. It will be back. And then I don't believe we're going to have Dreamer today. He has been on calls all morning, and I think he is on another one. But we will find out if he is able to hop in. But other than that, actually, hey, there's Dreamer. Other than that, I don't think we have too much in the way of updates today. However, as I hope you all know, we do have 2 governance votes that are currently active and underway. They both opened US last night. What would that be, like 18 hours ago? They are both running for 72 hours, so there's still plenty of time. If you've not cast your vote, please go out and make your voices heard. I don't have any particular commentary on the votes. I don't know if anybody else does, but there was one thing that we wanted to kind of very lightly mention because it's sort of connected, I guess. So I'm just going to hand the mic over to Hubert and let him say whatever he wants.
Oh, wait, what is the thing?
It's the thing.
Is the thing we were just talking about? I thought that was going to be in relation to another question later.
Oh, it can be if you want. Yeah, we'll make him wait. I like that. We'll make him wait.
Suspense.
So never mind. You have to stick around now. Well, in that case, I genuinely don't have any updates at the moment. Does anybody have any updates they want to hit real quick before we go into questions?
I could do a quick update here, actually, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Thank you. Yeah, had a lot of fun over the weekend doing the Mythic Squad tournament, Rockbox. I got whooped, kind of like a deep tissue whooping even. Like I woke up the next day feeling like I'd fallen off a bridge. So it was super fun, really well put together. Shout out to those guys. Looking forward to the championship that I will be watching from the sidelines, sadly. So thank you to Sticks Intern and Mythic Squad in general. That was super cool. Yeah, thanks, Balon.
Guess I'll just quickly add to that. I was able to catch some of that tournament. I didn't catch all of it, unfortunately, but it was really cool to see. I thought the affixes this time around were quite challenging, and it was cool to watch people, try to tackle those. And I saw a lot of people failing, especially on that last one with the 3 demon box. But still, it's really cool engagement, really cool idea. I hope there's more of these in the future.
Yeah, shout out for Sticks Intern and Mythic Squad putting that together for sure. It's a lot of fun, and they make it challenging. Also, a public thank you to Winston for stepping in as AMA host last week. I was doing some traveling of my own, and it allowed me to be a little more disconnected for a couple days. So much appreciated. For those of you that enjoyed it more than when I host, it's fair. And don't worry, because Winston will be hosting another one in a couple weeks for us, because I'll be out again. But very much appreciated. I think it was our most efficient AMA ever, and I would say that I'm going to try to do better, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. All right. Well, let's dive into some questions. So first question is on the topic of Jewel. Do we have intentions to focus more efforts towards Jewel/Jewel holders, such as more raffles, more votes, more power-ups, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of start this off, and if others want to jump in, I will say that we do have more power ups coming with expeditions on its way. I I think we're going to have many more in the future as other features come to light. Just it's a matter of just timing on those. So definitely, I think we'll continue to see expansion of the power up system. And then I believe we've said this before. At least Bolan said we did, so I feel okay saying it. But we also are planning on Jewel being the main token being used in our PvP build. So there will be a usage there, and I guess that's kind of subject to change. We haven't released that yet, but that's kind of the direction we've been going in, at least. So yeah, I do think there's just those two things alone. I think are continuing to contribute to our focus there. As far as votes go, we have our 2 votes happening right now. If there's other topics that are ones that should go for a vote, I think now that we have everything built in, it's much easier for us to hold votes. So I'm not sure though what the next vote might be, but yeah, I don't know. Anyone else want to add to that?
I don't know. You already put me on the hook for giving you the idea to say it, so I'm not sure.
Bolan gave me the thumbs up, so I said it.
All right. Doesn't sound like anybody else, so we're going to move to the next one. This one was actually submitted prior to us posting the votes on the talk site and everything, so it's kind of been answered, but we'll do it anyway. Did we say that in addition to the Gen 0 cooldown, there would be a change to the cooldown formula for all heroes, and is that part of the same vote or a separate vote? It is part of the same vote, which is currently live. So essentially, there's 3 options. 2 of the options have the same change to Gen 1 Plus, and then 2 different changes to Gen 0s, either 7-day max or 14-day max. But the changes to Gen 1 Plus are the same with either of those options. And then the third option is don't change anything, obviously. So, yes, that is all bundled into one vote. So if one of those options passes, then all of the generations will have their cooldowns changed.
Yeah, I think it might be worth noting, like when you're looking at the choices, like the character limit that we had for like with snapshot is kind of limiting on how much information can be put there. So like the description above where you're making your choices does include like the details about like what the option includes in its entirety. So if that wasn't clear to anybody, I mean, you're also able to change your votes at any time during the window. If there's something about that changes what you're thinking, you're always welcome to go and up until the ending of the voting window, make adjustments. So.
Yes, good call out. I forgot to mention that. But yeah, the line item itself is limited to like 32 characters or something pretty small. So only so much information that can go into there, which is why like even in the raffle master vote, the voting options are accept or reject because there's not that much information we can put into those lines, unfortunately. Let's see. Time length and criteria for voting proposals. Thoughts on establishing like a more like fixed schedule for how this would go about. I'll kick that one off. I think it's a very fair point. We now have our integrated voting system, so it's definitely something that we can talk about and look at what that infrastructure looks like. I'll say with these 2 votes, both the cooldown and the raffle master vote, they've both been discussed for a pretty lengthy amount of time. Cooldowns for over a year and raffle master for like 6 months or so. So there's definitely a lot of lead up to these, and then we made sure to announce the votes about 2 weeks in advance, and then announce the starting time in advance and everything. So it's definitely something that we're very on board with, like cleaning up and making it as efficient as possible. And now that we have our new voting system, I think that'll just keep getting easier and better. So looking forward to doing that. Sorry, had to cough. Centralized exchanges. This was a two-part question. The first part is what's happening with CoinStore, and the second part is any updates on any other listings. I will turn that over to Dreamer and/or Sunbear.
All right, well, Dreamer's not unmuting, so I'll jump in unless he wants to. Oh, he's going back and forth.
I was just trying to unmute. I also thought Bolon was going to answer this one. So
no, I mean, I can kick it off.
He's throwing us for a loop here. No, so I actually didn't hear the whole question. I know the topic, but I will speak a little cryptically and then have you guys fill in the gaps. So on centralized exchange listings, there is one that we've been working with that is actually currently working on integration in DFK Chain relative to CoinStore. It is a much higher ranked by way of volume, which is how most people rank centralized exchanges. I believe we've seen them in the top 15. It's not Binance. Nobody say it's Binance. It's not Binance. It'd be cool if it was, and could be one day. But there are a couple nuances here. But in terms of some payments that happen, some negotiations, some other issues that would like to be improved on and fixed, there is something progressing there. Might be within about 3 weeks or so. We can talk about who and how that might change it. But we are excited about the having a directly supported centralized exchange integration in the top 15. It'll be really good for other applications as well. One downside, there aren't a lot, but one downside of being on our own chain ID and everything is the difficulty with some of these native infrastructure builds and other things, specifically with centralized exchanges. So we're excited about this and more to come. Did that cover the whole question, Bolon, or was there questions around other things, not only what are we doing for centralized exchanges?
The only other part was what's happening with CoinStore.
I could give an overview there, but I feel like you and Sunbear might have the latest on it. So I will avoid saying anything incorrect. If either of you want to take it, and I might add.
Sunbear, you want to take it?
Sure. The gist of it is that, and I don't think they'd mind us saying, they were going through some changes at CoinStore. They were pulling some of their own liquidity out of pairs, and they gave us some options, and we considered those options. And ultimately, we decided to go in bigger on a bigger exchange and to use some of those funds in that way. So I know we'll be able to talk a little bit more when this integration is further along. But we, as Dreamer said, we've been busy at work to negotiate and to get good with a good solid exchange. And CoinStore was good to us. They gave us a good deal. But I think we just wanted more, honestly, and no hard feelings there. I think we just we're ready to move to a different space. Bolon, anything you'd add, or Dreamer?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You go first. First.
I'll just add real quick, as far as what Sunbear was alluding to with the changes, it wasn't anything bad, and it wasn't anything specific to us. There were some regulatory changes where they are based, which then triggered some changes of internal policies, which then triggered a sweep of everything. And so, like Sunbear said, they came to us with options, and we thought that we had different options that we would like to pursue. But I just wanted to highlight, it wasn't anything bad, and it wasn't specifically our listing or anything like that. It was just kind of a wide sweeping update. Over to you, Dreamer.
Yeah, and we're probably being more cryptic than we have to, so I might say it even simpler. The deal with CoinStore was one that was greatly in our favor. They solved a lot of things for us, even market making. They offered that, and that was part of the deal. Some of the changes Sunbear mentioned changed what they can do there, and we were going to have to make a decision if we were going to support that ourselves. And we looked at the capital we have there, and if we had an opportunity to take that and kind of upgrade to a higher volume US supporting top 15 exchange, that money's got to come from somewhere. And that's what we started to do mentally, rather than saying let's kind of require more resources to support the existing listing. Is there a way, you know, that we could have it benefit more? And there was an opportunity that came up. So that kind of is how it started. No hard feelings, nothing bad happened or anything. It's just the deal they gave us that had limited life. They couldn't continue. Some parts of it, we assessed it and thought it was best if we found an opportunity for another listing. And maybe we'll you know, reignite that in the future when we have more resources. But man, we're just trying to get the most out of what we got for everybody. So I feel like the outcome here is actually quite positive. They were the first to integrate on DFK Chain. We have a good relationship with them. They gave us a really good deal at first. There were some things they couldn't continue. When looking at how that affected us, we felt like at the current environment, probably not best to lean forward even further, and found some other options that we're working on.
I hope you all have enjoyed this cryptic section of our AMA. We're going to move into some questions that we might be able to give you some more direct answers on. But as always, real quick, I will just plug, it's not because we don't want to. It's because we cannot yet. So, you know, just know that it's not out of a desire to be cryptic. It is out of necessity. But we'll have more information soon that we can share more blatantly.
Well, and Bolin, you know, also just to say, like, we say what we can when we can, not because we're jerks or because we enjoy it, like you said, but we just care about this project and we care about its success and we care about its people and our partnerships. And when we are thoughtful and careful and intentional, it shows how much like care we do have. Even when we're making big moves, when we're considering new partnerships, a new direction, like we're consulting our lawyers, we're consulting, you know, people like Sticks Intern and people that really care about this project, to really make sure we're moving in the right direction. Even with the voting we're doing now, we want you all to be a part of this major project because your voice counts. You're the ones that are holding these assets, and we keep all of this in mind. And that's why we sometimes do have to be careful about what we say to protect the entirety of this thing we love so much. So just wanted to add those words.
Yeah, most definitely. And I appreciate it, Sunbear. So speaking of the Beetle Dude questions that I referenced, this one is more of a Beetle Dude question. So I'm going to touch on it, but we'll save it for him as well. But it's basically asking about having an in-game setting to adjust your zoom, and not zoom into the map, which you can adjust, but like your overall zoom. I'll plug a reminder, of course, that every browser does have that built in. So, I mean, I openly admit that I use 75% zoom on my Chrome browser when I play DFK because I can see more of my heroes at once and it makes me happy. So as far as having it built in, I actually did mention something about that to Beetle once, and it's been a while. And he said it would be a pretty sizable lift. So I'm guessing it still would be, but we can save for more from him. But I did want to plug, you know, you can edit that in your browser settings and find that spot that makes you happy as well. Anything anybody wants to add on that? All right. Hubert, will there be a focus referencing the currently unavailable equipment released prior to PvP?
There will not. We're not planning on one yet. So I think for focuses, I mean, we do have Seer out now, which could potentially use one, but I'm currently more focused on focusing on focuses. On doing that probably around the time we get to Wizard, I would say.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Another one for you, and potentially some Winston as well. Can we share any information at a high level on what needs to be built for PvP, and anything on rough progress and or timeline, of course, such as, you know, X new zones need art, Y contracts need to be, you know, made and or launched. Just kind of the general high level of what we're looking at.
Sure. So yeah, let's see. Just kind of starting from the art side. I mean, we need to have a visual representation of the location that we're adding, and I can say that is basically done at this point. Then from there we have some zones that are associated with that. Those are also essentially done at this point. Then maps, like PvP backgrounds. We have 2 of those done at this point, and we have another one being worked on. And kind of the lore behind everything, filling those areas with NPCs, and kind of deciding how and why and what with everything, what features are going to be there. I think we've finalized a lot of our decisions on that front. Like for PvP specifically, we need contracts that handle being able to set up specific heroes to be in fights, having them kind of locking them down while they're in the fights, being able to handle usage of potions, and also having various like specific requirements that players are able to set to like limit which heroes can join a fight, for example. So a lot of decisions have been made there. The contract work is underway, but it's not complete. But that's something we are working on. And then getting into the cryptic stuff that we were alluding to right at the very beginning. Oh,
before you get into the cryptic stuff, I just wanted to plug 2 things. One, a reminder that also all of that requires front end. So, you have the contract to do the combat, but you need the front end to be able to select your heroes. You need the front end to know what those, custom restrictions for that particular match are. So there's a good amount of front end work that goes into everything as well. And also just on a basic level, a front end to allow you to challenge somebody and accept it and all that stuff. And then the other thing I wanted to throw out before it becomes a thing in chat. Yes, Hubert did say that some of those things are done and in a good place. We will show them to you, not yet, but we will. So stay tuned for more on that front as well. Now, Hubert has some more cryptic stuff to go through.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to undersell like the amount of work that goes into the front end of this. And also I didn't even mention our API, which has to be plugged into all of this as well. And we have some, with this being on Metis, we do have, I guess there's some more custom considerations we've had to have. And so like our API solutions may end up being a little bit more involved for some things than they were or they are right now on our main realms. So there's definitely a lot of work that's still ongoing there. But I think at this point we've essentially defined what we want, and now it's just a matter of implementation and discovering anything where something that we want is maybe more tricky than we thought, and we have to figure out the solutions for making it work still, or if we need to change things. So we're in that phase of development right now, and I'm excited for what we're doing. I'll just say that I'm not likely, I am already starting to kind of dive into doing some contract work of my own just to help make sure that we get things done in a timely manner. We're working on it, and it's going really well, and I'm really happy with how things are going. It's getting pretty exciting over here. So and of course SBD being and his art team just being the pros that they are generally they kind of front run a lot of what we are doing. So like having the art in place allows us to then put that front end implementation there, and to like see what else other goodies we can add in the process. So very amazing work coming out of there. And also I don't want to undersell that there's also, along with all this comes a bunch of new music. So we have been getting a lot of great tracks coming from our musician art musician. I don't know if that's the right term. Composer. Yes. Our composer, Sam. So all those good stuff.
Our rock star.
The music is incredible.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to all that. So yeah, there's just a bunch of different things we got coming on. And so that's all the non-cryptic stuff. As far as just the cryptic stuff, which kind of alluding to the thing that we talked about right at the beginning, and I thought was going to be brought up right now, which is, that's just stuff for PvP itself, like to be able to do stuff for core PvP functions. We are also looking at, what other things we can do around our PvP system, what kind of supplemental systems would be possible, and to add to like just make the whole experience better. As far as like when they would be ready or if they would be ready, like something that we end up actually doing, I'm not going to commit to anything right now. We still have a lot of things being discussed. But we do have one system that we're really excited about, that we'd like to do, that would involve a lot of. It would involve using heroes in a way that hasn't been used before, and it'd be kind of in a way that would allow, it would be kind of a long-term use for them. So without saying too much, I'll just say that we do, if we were to go down this road, like Gen Zeros would have a some special attention given to them, if we're participating in the system, if we build it. So just wanted to kind of, like, it's cryptic. I just don't want to say too much because, we need to like finalize if we're going to do it in the first place. And hopeful, and I think it'll be a great system if we build it. But when and how and all that stuff will be just a little bit later. But we'll just say, kind of in response to some of the things that have been said in our Discord and elsewhere, as far as like with the potential change happening to Gen Zero cooldowns, will there be anything else for Gen Zeros in the future? Like we haven't, like we do think along those lines of, how can we, like, will this feature be beneficial, or can we do something for Gen Zeros specifically with this? Like with our burn mechanics, we exclude Gen Zeros because they're so important. But with this feature, it would have a pretty big impact for Gen Zeros, I would say. And I don't know if anyone wants to add more to that. Dreamer, I know you're excited for the potential of this as well, but I tried to keep it cryptic. So.
Yeah, now I'm just afraid. I don't remember what you did say or didn't say. But as it relates to this feature, I personally am very, very optimistic in how much it can move the needle in different ways in terms of onboarding, overall enjoyment, and impacting the overall economy, including Gen Zero's utility. That's all I'll say, because we're still working on it. It would be good if we get it funded and build, and I think it'll allow everything we're already currently building to go much further. But actually just had a very important meeting prior to this AMA, and we'll have more meetings as well, so more to come. But in general, I think the part that I'd echo is, as it relates to Gen Zeros, over time there's been a lot of good feedback on, what cool things can we do for Gen Zero holders. And we've had a lot of other foundational items to build that weren't really a part of it. But with Perilous Journey, I think there was something there that people were excited about. And in terms of voting and overall voting power, recently I think there's been some movement there. So I hope people realize we are trying to consider that in the features as when they come up, where they make the most sense in all of our discussions, how a Gen Zero holder might benefit from a certain feature. There's some features that just like won't relate at all, and we're not going to force it. And there are others that actually fit really nicely. The one that was cryptically brought up, I'm really excited about.
Man, we've given y'all a lot to chew on today, and I'm excited to see where your wild speculation takes you. Going back to some simpler questions here for a minute. Well, maybe actually. First one up is, in the boar hunt, would it be possible to implement a secret cheat code, something like pass 3 times in a row to cause Mama to wild charge on her next turn if she has already used wild charge in that game previously?
Maybe the secret cheat code's already there and you just haven't done the right combination of things yet.
Ooh.
Or maybe it's not there.
The drama. Let's say pets are pretty cool. So cool, in fact, that I wonder if they have any greater divine essence in them. Any chance that the divine essence mechanic can expand for pets?
I would say there's a chance, but I would also say there's also a chance that there wouldn't, just to continue on the theme of crypticness. I have more to talk about internally on that topic, I'll say. But I have some thoughts.
You get a big fat maybe.
Big.
When the reroll mechanic is online, can we reroll a hero to a certain level only? Let's say it's level 20, you want to go back to 15. I mean, I'll answer for you, Hubert, unless you just want to. No. So you can either reroll the level up in real time as you do it, or you can reroll all the way or reset all the way back to 1 and then level back up. But there's no like targeted reset.
Right. And, you know, I guess there's two reasons why that's a no. First is just that I think that is probably a bit too powerful of an option to give to players. But the other is it would also require a lot of data being stored all the time. Like we don't currently save like the results of every level up in a way that a smart contract can access. So we would need to add that, and then that data would need to basically travel with the heroes everywhere you go. So when you bridge, it would be more expensive. With the system as it is already, we are going to need to at least track the level 1 state, and that's going to need to travel with the heroes. So it is going to already be adding a little bit more to like bridging and just like the overall data overhead of heroes. But yeah, if we had to do that for every level, and you know, right now there's only 20 levels, but there's an end goal of 100, like that would be a pretty big thing to do. So no and no.
Thank you, Hubert. Thoughts on having more animations for level ups, summoning, hatching, that kind of thing? I mean, I'll kick it off and just say, like, yeah, you know, it would be great, but that takes time and art, and it takes time and art away from other things that we need time and art for. But if anybody has other thoughts on that, please feel free.
Could you say the question again? I don't think I caught the whole thing.
Thoughts on having like more variety in animations for like level ups, summoning, and hatching, like even to the point of potentially like depending on the result, like if you summon a mythic hero, you get a different animation kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, I love that kind of stuff. I want us to have more of that. Like at every turn, I'm always asking for more. It just is a matter of, you know, our bandwidth and how, you know, how much we can put into one thing or another. So, you know, down the road, you know, as far as I see those as kind of like quality of life improvement art tasks, and we have so many like main function requirement art tasks right now that I think are always going to be the priority. That, you know, it could happen, but it's not going to happen right away.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. This one may be a Beetle Dude question, but I'm going to throw it out there and see what y'all think. Being able to turn on a filter to show heroes that are pending reroll in the Barkeeper. So we have it in the tavern now, but not in the hero catalog.
Sounds like a good list item to me.
Excellent. It's going on the list. Thoughts on having basic attacks cost less initiative?
I don't know about that one. I guess it would. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we do give more accuracy to basic attacks already, and you know they are free to use. So I don't know that I'm not convinced that it's necessary. But I guess as we continue through balancing, I don't know, Winston, maybe you have a thought since you do a lot of our testing.
Yeah, yeah, I do have a thought. I think that it's a cool idea, but also there would be concerns about. I mean, if basic attack becomes too powerful to the point where, I mean, I guess I could see doing that, and then maybe making everything more costly in mana. You know, so it's like the basic attack is better, but everything else is worse. You know, you need that kind of balance. If basic attack becomes too easy to use and too beneficial, why use the other skills? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Awesome. I appreciate it, gentlemen. In regards to heroes in general and burning them, Thoughts on having a system where you trade in a hero, which would be burning it. So you burn a hero, and in return, you get a temporary portion of Siegel to use towards a power up.
Huh. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. My mind always goes to like how hard would it be to implement something like that, and I think there'd be a lot of factors that would need to be added that would probably be a big pain. But it's interesting. I mean, I think I'd like to see where we go with the Divine Essence system and how that impacts things before we think too hard on too many separate burn mechanics. I mean, we have talked about also permanent death through combat and different things, which would be kind of tied to the Divine Essence system. And I kind of like the idea of seeing how far we can lean into Divine Essence before we add more elsewhere.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Any insight into PvP skill and trait transparency? Will we be able to see directly in the combat menu what skills and traits the opponent's heroes have?
Yes. So, I mean, I think right now you can see the skills that your opponents have in Void Hunts if you look at the in there. And I think the UI also even allows you to see it. I think you can. I don't know. I have to go back and double check now because I think it just kind of zooms past as it goes through the PvE enemies. But you can definitely at least see it there. And with traits, we do plan to have them be visible as well. And any other things that might get added from things like pet combat bonuses would also be visible. So, I mean, the combat system is kind of it's a game with many angles that people can come at you with, and it's without knowing what those angles are, it makes the strategy very difficult to be able to have. So, we do try to make sure that things are communicated.
Permadeath blind fights. just putting it out there. Appreciate it. Let's see. Will future so actually I'm going to back up. I'm going to rephrase this to take the end first. So assuming that Sarandel would match Crystal Vale more or less if Klaytn didn't have the bridge hack, will future realms offer different activities, or will they be similar to how Crystal Vale and Sarandel currently are? So long-term vision question.
I think we generally have a goal of having there be different content available in different places, just to like encourage people to be traveling and moving around. I think that'll become much more apparent once we actually have the traveling system in place, and the scrub fights that we've alluded to in the past, where I can say right now I don't expect the things that you can fight in Sarandel to be the same, or mostly mostly different compared to what you can fight in Crystal Vale, and having that same kind of mindset for things in other realms in the future, which would then lead to specific monsters may drop specific loot that's used for the crafting system. So like as far as like the core things that you can do, I think we'll generally have access to some form of profession quest. We'll generally have access to some form of combat, and some form of traveling and land ownership, things like that. I think there are core features that are just kind of a part of the game and that we wouldn't go away from having. But then there's the nuances of those systems. I think we have a lot of room to be flexible with and have them be different.
I'll just plug a reminder to, I think everybody knows, or for the most part, but, we put the boar hunt out on Crystal Vale, and originally our plan was to put Bad Mother Cluckers on Klaytn. Obviously, with everything that was happening, we wanted to make sure it was, stable, so we put it on Crystal Vale as well. But then at the same time, there's features like Dark Summoning, which were intended to only exist in Crystal Vale. So I do think we'll continue to see that variety, as Hubert was talking about. Anything anybody else wants to add to that before I hit the next one? All right. Can we get the docs.DeFi Kingdoms site updated for bot fights, weapons, and gear? I'm going to kick that one off and then I'll pass it over. But I will say that there actually is an update to it that is going through review to have a similar page to what the boar hunts have now for Bad Mother Cluckers as well. So it'll show, the basic information about the fight, the drop table, that kind of thing. As far as like weapons and gear go, I believe outside of, the drop table, that we will probably not be posting that, at least not in the short term. Because there's still a lot that has not been discovered. Somebody actually just found a new max bonus on an item the other day, and now I can't remember which weapon it was. But there's still some that haven't been found, and there's a lot of fun in letting people kind of discover those for themselves.
I believe it was the Gore Blade, yeah. And I don't think any others have at least like the ultra rare max bonus, and pretty much everything besides some of the accessories have that same chance for like a much bigger final max bonus. But yeah, I mean, there may be some of those that just never get found. But anyway, I kind of forgot the rest of the question and just kind of commented on that thing.
Zipper said in chat Excalibur, which I'm guessing he means that somebody found the max bonus on it, but I don't know. All he said was the word Excalibur.
Really? If that's true, that's pretty impressive considering that thing has such a small drop rate. But I guess there's maybe an axe also. But
apparently, so a few of them have been found. So I guess the question is,
do I need to make it rarer?
First off, always. But do you think that we will put out what those possible bonuses are in the short term, or let it kind of exist as it does now, where it's open for people to discover them?
I like to keep things open for discovery, but once they've been discovered, I think we can be a little bit more open about like the chances, which I think on that I can say that it's, if I'm remembering right, 0.05% chance to get the max bonuses. But what those bonuses actually are, I think there's also kind of a pattern. If you pay attention, you might just have a pretty good guess about what it would be. But yeah, so
which one of you is volunteering to try to reverse engineer Hubert's math? And can I watch? All right. So we're actually about to grab our final question. Thank you again to Winston's efficiency last week. We will be caught up. So if anybody has questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and I'll snag a couple before we wrap up if anybody has anything. But should the vote on summoning cooldown increase pass, do we have an idea of what kind of timeline we are looking at in terms of implementation?
I think on we'll want to do it fairly quickly just to, close that loop and be done. I think we'd need at least a week of testing to make sure we don't do anything wrong. I think with the cooldown one, it's a fairly straightforward change. Like we just need to update some formulas, update a little bit of the conditionals, and then have a little bit of special handling for the reset part, assuming that passes. And on the raffle one, that one is mostly just kind of changing the data. So we just need to remove what's available as options right now and then add in the new options after the fact. So that also is fairly straightforward. We just want to, make sure that we do it correctly, have everything, all the different packages are set up correctly and all that stuff, and that we test it first. So I'd say, a minimum of a week's time, maybe more depending on people's bandwidths. But yeah, hopefully that gives a decent sense of like the amount of work required and how quickly we want to go.
Thank you. I'm actually going to expand that question a little bit, and same question for the Raffle Master.
Yes, I think I added Raffle Master in my answer just now, but yeah, basically I think both of them, I'd say, probably a minimum of a week just to make sure we've got it all set up properly.
Awesome. Sorry if you'd already said that. I got distracted by a Discord ping. So I appreciate it. And actually, you know what? The Discord ping that I got was a question kind of along those lines anyway. So I'm going to ask that as well. Make sure that I'm understanding correctly. So should the cooldown increase pass, essentially all of those cooldowns will be effective immediately at the time of implementation. Now, Gen Zeros, you won't necessarily see immediately because of the summoning count reset to 19. But for Gen 1 Plus, essentially, once we do the implementation, that new cooldown would be in effect. Is that correct?
For any new summons, like the whatever you had, like if you just summoned like a minute before we implemented, then you'd have the cooldown as of the previous version. But any after we implement, then yes, like any new summon cooldowns would have the new formula applied to them.
Awesome. And I'm going to front run the next question that I feel like is going to come. Is that determined by the time that they create the crystal or the time that they open it?
It is on the creation side.
Ah, interesting. I was wrong. I'm glad I asked.
Well, I guess I should caveat that for the summoners, it's at creation. For the newly summoned hero, I believe that gets set when the crystal is actually opened.
Okay.
So I guess it's both, depending on what angle you're looking at.
Yeah, sorry. I was talking about the newly summoned hero, which actually that makes sense because the current 24-hour cooldown starts when you open the crystal, not when you create it. So
Right.
That would carry on. There we go. I got there eventually. All right. So you heard it here first. It will be based on when you open the crystal for the new hero. All right. I did not see anybody throw us any questions. So I will give it just a minute if anybody wants to, and if not, we'll move into our wrap up. All right, we're going to move into our wrap up. As always, thank you everyone who has come and listened to this AMA, and thank you to everyone who will listen to it later. Thank you to everybody who submits questions. Please make sure you continue to submit questions at talk.defikingdoms.com or in the AMA questions channel in Discord. But as you heard, we currently are out of questions, so y'all better get us some new ones. Talking to you, Maddie. But greatly appreciate everybody taking the time up here to answer all of these questions every week. And it's always a pleasure. Don't ape into broken mechanics. That's all I have. Any final thoughts from anybody?
I'll just say for a lot of this AMA, I've been sitting here with the biggest smile on my face as I've listened to Hubert and Dreamer specifically and Bolon too talk about things they are so excited about that have come out of their brains over the last several weeks that they're brainstorming on and have to hold back so much because I can just feel their pain and excitement. And I just got to tell y'all, I am stoked for PvP and metas and the things that we have potential to do there. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that. Big smile on my face, if you can imagine the sun bear with a big smile. That's what's happening.
Sun bear with a big smile. Yeah, I mean, it sucks to have to be this careful, but at the same time, like, if we do this right, I feel like it is a very, very high potential for catalyst in the future as we grow. You know, PvP is very interesting to many people out there. Competition, forming communities around competition, expanding that experience to all involved, whether you're actively participating or participating in other ways. We're trying to design a system here that isn't just, all right, you can do hunts now, but versus each other. It's a lot more elegant. It's a lot more involved. It's a lot more impactful on the whole ecosystem. And hopefully from outside looking in, it's going to be a lot more exciting for people that when they come, like the days of, wait, is DFK like a playable game? Questions coming up like, yeah, hunts obviously should trump that, but hunts is a personal experience. We can share them. We can have fun sharing them. We can talk about strategy and make good content to help other people in their own personal experience. But what we're trying to build in the Coliseum is not like a single player experience. It's meant to be entire communities, and you know, whether you're speculating or spectating or playing or competing or you know, getting potentially some big rewards, you're bringing in sponsors or coverage or having live events or digital events. This is something on the verge of very high growth potential, and that's why I'm excited about it, and that's why I think everybody that's ever been involved with, supportive of, or interested in DFK should be excited about it too.
And I think just to kind of add to that, you know, once PvP is out, it does also make every update we make to the combat engine just that much more exciting, because everything can kind of change the meta. We add traits. Oh, there goes the meta is all different now. And then we add pet combat bonuses, and then everyone's, you know, speculating and trying to find the right combo of pet bonuses for them. And then we add a new class, and then everything changes, and, you know, new weapons, new equipment. Like every little addition we make, it just flows right into like, how does this impact PvP? So I think that's super exciting. I'm looking forward to that being the new paradigm that we have. And, you know, I'll just say, you know, we really are putting a lot into developing this PvP system. It's not something we're phoning in or anything like that. Like, everyone here is very passionate about what we're doing. You know, and as we get closer and closer to being able to like share everything and just have it all in front of your guys' faces, you know, I think that will, you know, you'll see that once it's there. Like, it's really great work being put in by everybody, and, you know, so excited to get, you know, to the point where it's in front of you all. So yeah, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, really quick. I won't repeat everything everyone said. You guys covered it so well. But yeah, I think the future is super bright, and I mean, it's just awesome to be on the inside of this and see how much this team cares about the players and cares about their experience and what it's going to be like for them this week and this month and this year and next year. And it's super cool. Like this, you know, I feel like this team really cares about the players a lot. You see it. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Awesome. Appreciate all of you as always. And with that, I feel like I haven't heard Sunbear bullish us in a while, so I'm gonna pick on him.
Oh yeah, thanks, Bolon. Looking forward to this. Yeah. So, what can I say? I mean, I've already said my excitement. I've said I'm smiling. That's where I'm at. Love you all, and really glad to be a part of this team. Winston said it, like, it's so cool to be behind the scenes and to see how this is developing. And I have never in the last 3 years been more bullish.
Bullish. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all. We will see you next week.
DeFi Kingdoms, where you can summon heroes, trade with other players, quest, and fight challenging enemies in a fantasy world brought to life in pixel art animation. Come on.